Well, the Caleb Williams sweepstakes is over. He is, in fact, going to join Lincoln Riley, TBOW, if you will, Oklahoma fans, out at USC on the West Coast. It's a huge win for USC. It's also the end of, I think, a pretty bad three-team trade for the Oklahoma Sooners, and we'll get into that later on here in the video. Welcome in. I am John Kurtz. If you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I talk college football all week here on this channel, all year here on this channel, and do it from a Big 12 perspective. Plenty of conference realignment that you'll find as well here on the channel. Okay, so what we have is Caleb Williams not going to Wisconsin, which was the late surge there. Instead, he is going to USC, which is where everybody figured he would probably wind up from the jump. ESPN's Pete Thamel broke the story. I'm going to read you some details from his story that gives some insight into the decision-making and the background of this decision for Caleb Williams. So here's a quote. Caleb Williams says, "I wanted to go somewhere where I thought would provide me with the best development both on and off the field. Getting to know Coach Riley and gaining familiarity with his offense definitely played a part in my decision, as well as already knowing some of the guys on the team." Now, Thamel says this decision marks the end of the biggest offseason mystery in college football. He spent nearly a month in the transfer portal and chose the Trojans over UCLA, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Wisconsin. So that basically is the finalist list there. UCLA, Georgia, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, and USC. First of all, before we get to the Oklahoma implications, the Big 12 implications, let me just say, hell of an effort by Wisconsin to actually be involved in this and make us think that there was a legitimate chance of this happening. That does lend some credence, I think, to like, hey, what could happen in the era of NIL, as well as just being like, hey, man, shoot your shot. Like Wisconsin was the ultimate shoot your shot right here. This came from later on in the article. Wisconsin liked its chances in the later stages of the Williams sweepstakes after getting help from the former transfer Russell Wilson connection, along with the hire of offensive coordinator Bobby Ingram, whose son played with Williams in high school. So that was the sell. Hey, man, Russell Wilson did it. Worked out really successfully. We just hired your old buddy as our offensive coordinator, and I'm sure we can give you a boatload of NIL money is also a part of the equation here. But Williams chose what I think actually was in his best interest to go play at USC. The other part of this, he mentions NFL development, right, as one of the biggest decision-making factors here for him. And that to me is where you're losing if you're Oklahoma right now. And Oklahoma fans don't want to hear it, but this is going to be the tough part to overcome for the program. If you're trying to sell NFL development, Caleb Williams has made it very clear that's his number one goal the whole time. Kids that are elite quarterbacks that are coming out right now, that's going to be their number one goal, is to go play QB in the NFL. You just can't sell Jeff Levy and Brent Venables against Lincoln Riley right now. I mean, it's just no contest with the guys that Lincoln has put into the league and some of the successes that they've had at the college level and in the NFL. Like, you just can't go against that. Like, Jeff Levy does not have that kind of resume. As much as you want to tell me his offense is great, you can't hold up the guy that just scored 7 against the Baylor defense in a major bowl game against Lincoln Riley, who's had a myriad of Heisman finalists and first-round NFL draft picks that are now littered all over the league. You just can't do it. And that's where my concerns with Oklahoma would come in long-term here. Like, can you make up for that with a better defense and more blue-collar and tough? I mean, that's going to be the equation, right? That's what Brent Venables is trying to sell. I don't think that's just winning a formula in college football in 2022. But, hey, I digress. It's still a pretty quarterback-driven sport at the college level, even if it's not maybe quite as quarterback-centric as the NFL is in terms of it being paramount to your success. Anyway, here's more from the article. It's a giant coup for Riley, who has now added 13 transfers from the portal since arriving at USC in November. None is as important as Williams, who will provide a building block and star power and help deliver USC an immediate on-field identity. Yeah, I think that part is key. Like, it was going to take some time to get USC back into like a playoff contender, but the opportunity is absolutely there to go win 9 or 10 games next year at USC. I mean, to me, that much is very clear. There's going to be enough residual talent there. The portal can help you turn those seasons out very quickly. And with 13 transfers, some of the guys that Lincoln's been able to pull in, I think they'll have every opportunity to do it, especially when you play in the Pac-12, right? That's the other part of the equation here. It's a really weak league. Mario Cristobal just left Oregon. The opportunity will absolutely be there to go reestablish yourself at least as a program that can win 8 to 10 games and then take the next step from there. And you have a couple of years here of Caleb Williams. How high can you climb in those 2 years? I mean, that would be a fair question to ask if Williams' ultimate goal was to win at the college level, but he has said his goal is to get to the NFL. And I think that's where Lincoln Riley has as good a resume as anybody. And that's why his decision came down the way it did. More from the article. Williams' transfer comes at a time in the sport where the NCAA's new one-time transfer rule and the ability for players to make money off their name, image, and likeness have intersected for the first time. But Williams said NIL didn't have any impact on my decision. He goes on to say, quote, USC obviously has a great football history when it comes to national championships and Heisman winners. But aside from football, the school itself and the city gives me a chance to really seek out and explore other interests I have off the field. Huge selling point. And I do think he's probably telling the truth here. Now, does that mean NIL doesn't factor at all? No, of course, there's enormous potential in LA if it does work out well. He's going to get paid. He's not going to be hurting, right? But I think what you're trying to say there is like, that was not the driving force behind this decision, because I know I'm good. I know I'm headed to the NFL. If I get Lincoln Riley, he's going to send me there. I'll have money big time then. I'll get a decent amount of money while I'm here now. And there's a lot of potential there. And I can explore other things that LA has to offer, which that's tough to turn down, man. That is just really tough to turn down. And this is basically the equation that Lincoln Riley hopes to sell now. You bring in all the good stuff about LA and you compare it now with competent football, which was not really there at USC for a while. I mean, we're going on a while now of that not really being a part of this. And the final conclusion here, man, and I know Oklahoma fans, you think I'm just trying to hit on you at every single turn, but I still see so much denial about all of this and the situation that the Sooners are in right now and where the two programs are going to be at 10 years from now. This is basically, someone broke it down on Twitter as like, this was the trade. USC gets Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams. Oklahoma gets Jeff Lebby. Ole Miss gets Jackson Dart and Michael Trigg. A couple of transfers going into the Ole Miss program. And like Jackson Dart, I mean, Oklahoma was still involved with Jackson Dart down to the final wire, even though they already had Dylan Gabriel, which tells you what they think about the two quarterbacks and who has the higher ceiling there, right? And so Oklahoma doesn't get Caleb Williams. They don't get Jackson Dart. They got the third tier option in Dylan Gabriel. This is why you're seeing Oklahoma at the back end of the top 25 and a lot of preseason top 25s for next year. I mean, I know that they don't really mean anything, but like, this is the perception right now, Oklahoma fans, that you've taken a step back and you're not recruiting at an elite level like Lincoln Riley is starting to already at USC. So can Brent Venables and Jeff Lebby get that thing turned around? Maybe so. And maybe I'm totally off, but I have a hard time seeing Oklahoma not taking at least a little bit of a step back with everything that's happening right now. And Caleb Williams certainly is a part of that. I'll be going live tonight. If you're watching this on Wednesday, you can catch a live show from me tonight. I go live Wednesday and Sunday, typically throughout the week, and you'll find plenty of other content here on the channel as well throughout the week. So please do consider subscribing if you have not. Follow me on Twitter at JL Kurtz, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks.